Good evening, welcome. It's Leicester Fan TV. My name's Phil. It's Monday night. We're live 7:32. Well, we're going to finish 5 minutes early today because there's some good games on the Euros to watch. So there's still bits and bobs to talk about Leicester. We finally got a manager. We spent the last 3 or 4 Mondays going, where's the new manager? Finally, we got the new manager. We'll have a chat with Tom shortly about that, but mostly I want your views. A little bit about Steve Cooper, a little bit about Wout Pies to Barcelona. Where's that one come from? Get your views and get your comments in. Of course, there's loads of stuff to talk about, but I want your views and I want your comments on all things Leicester City.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content, like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live. Thanks to our sponsors, Everards, Barlow Blinds, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Distillers Direct, Hollogram, Take Me, Newby Co, and the Foxes, Arms and Rainbows. We are live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, good evening. Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. My name's Phil. We're live every Monday in the Fanzone show and Thursdays and Sundays, as well as all the special shows, certainly during transfer window time, where the minute anything confirmed goes, or even if, to be fair, even if there's half a whiff of half a rumour, we'll go live and debate it. Loads and loads for you to talk about. Don't forget, follow us down here on the socials at Leicester Fan TV, wherever you are. But mostly Monday nights is all about getting as many of your comments on screen as possible. Good evening, Richie. Hope you're well. Craig, hope you're well as well. Maz, good evening. Richie says, I will be getting behind Steve Cooper, the new Leicester City manager. Good. As will I. I think you've all heard me say why I think he's a more than decent appointment in there. Matty Bond, thank you, Matt. Matty's agreeing. Great appointment in there. The more I think about Cooper, the more I like it. I liked it before it was announced. Again, the thing with the videos is you can always see what we say. It may not work. I actually think a lot of managers are going to find it hard at Leicester, but it's going to be interesting. Connor says, date prediction for the first transfer. Connor's watching on Twitter. Don't forget you can follow us there at Leicester Fan TV. Get your comments into Connor. When do you think the first signing will be? We've probably already done it, Connor. We've signed Vesti and, of course, Jamie Vardy. Dave says, I thought Vestergaard got found out for speed again in England. Dave, nobody needs to find Vestergaard out for speed. We all know it. We all know he's slow. Not sure the 3-year contract was a sound decision. Well, it was Enzo's choice. Thanks, Enzo. Left us with Vesti. Let's hope he can cope. Rudy, good evening, Rudy. Would have preferred Potter. However, we must back Cooper. Rudy, you're probably saying what most people think, and that's fine. Cooper wanted it, Potter didn't. It was pretty simple. Connor says, when do you think there'll be some more trustworthy rumours will be flying around? Well, yeah, how about this one? Do you want to get your teeth into this one? Wout Pies to Barcelona. It's been rumoured in the Spanish press. It's come over to the English press. Yes, apparently Barcelona like the looks of Wout Pies. Think he's a tough tackling, good playing out from the back, ticks all their boxes. I don't know. Talk about left field, honestly. I mean, I wouldn't have thought Vincent Kompany would have gone to Bayern Munich. You know, there's all sorts of things going on at the moment. So, Wout Pies to Barcelona. Get your views in and get your comments in on that. We'll get a couple more comments in, and then we'll add Tom in. Liam, again, this is probably one of the other big talking points for tonight as well. Do you think Will stay? We've already announced Vardy. We've already announced Vestergaard. So, you wonder with the Ndidi one, what's going on. The thing with Ndidi, Liam, is he's probably, I think, what's Wilf, about 27 years old, something like that. He's probably at that point now where he could and probably should make a transfer, and especially if he can go to, you know, a European playing side. Do you know what I mean? They're in one of the European conference or the Europa League, something like that. Mick also says we shouldn't have given Vestergaard a new contract until we had a new manager in place. Yeah, I believe he was signed under the Enzo signed to him. Richie says Ndidi will be gone. Connor's pulling me up on my spelling. You forgot the R in Barca, mate. Oh my God. Look at this. Barca. Of the Barca. I am so sorry. Apologies. Do you know what? I never went to spelling school. There you go. How about that? Done on the fly for you. Get your views and get your comments in. Lots of bits and bobs to talk about. Iverson to Derby on loan. We could probably do with selling 1 or 2 or 3 goalkeepers. Danny Ward would be a good one to get off the books. 40 grand a week for Danny Ward. Crazy. Let's bring Tom in at this very moment. He's giving me the thumbs up. He looks very hot and sunny. Tom, good evening.
Good evening, mate. You all right?
Look at that. What a beautiful down there in, Worcestershire. He's so posh. Worcestershire. Tom obviously is from Leicestershire, but lives now down near Worcestershire or in Worcestershire. Tom, let's start because welcome to the show. I love to have a chat with Tom. We don't always agree, but a lot of the time we do. Tom, I genuinely interested. I know you've been super busy. Just talk me through the Potter, the Cooper, where you were before it and where you're at now with it.
Yeah, I think when we did the show, was it about 2 Mondays ago? We all were 14 days on now when we finally got a manager in. I think my head was David Moyes, and he was like 3rd or 4th choice in the running at the time. And then we went 10 days with still no manager, and it was the rumour mills going, and it was Potter, then it was going to be someone else, and then it was someone else, and then Potter was the favourite. We were all sitting there going, right, Potter's the one, he's got the job, it's done and dusted, and that's it. And within 12 hours, the tide turned, and suddenly it wasn't Potter anymore, and that he'd decided not to take the job, and that all rumours, of course, none of that might not be true, and we might never even had in that conversation. But then Steve Cooper became favourite, and within a few hours of the next day, Cooper was named manager. And he's not my first choice. He wasn't my first choice from the start. I don't think he's got enough Premiership experience, but if he wants the job and he's hungry enough, like he seems to be, that the video he put out was the one that really turned me, because before that, we all look at stats, and his stats for Forest are very poor. He's only won 12 games in the Premier League. That's not a very high stat for a season and a half for keeping teams up. But he wants the job, and from seeing the video, not his speech to everyone, but his actual video, his body language to what he wants to do, there's someone there who's got to prove a point in my view, and I think that's your biggest thing. He's come with a point to prove that he is good enough to be in the Premier League as a manager, and I think he's hungry enough to do it. Some managers come in and they just think it's the next job on their ladder. I think Steve Cooper knows how much this opportunity is going to mean to him and where he can go. He needs to make this work. If it doesn't work, he knows that his chance of another Premier League job would be very slim. So you're going to put everything into this, and I think we saw that from the video.
Tom, you and me, we'll both remember it for the same reasons probably. But you and me, we went to Forest away, that 4-1 FA Cup game, and I said it in a video last week, Tom. If a big part of why I think Steve Cooper could try and do something at Leicester is, I take that one game, for example, where I see Steve Cooper live and the whole thing. That was a Championship Forest side on the rise that season from nowhere, 3rd bottom, as we all know. That day at the City Ground, and I hate to say it, but I don't want to say it, you talk me through what that experience was like as a Leicester fan and what you witnessed. And you've got to be honest, Forest fans, the ground, the club, the players and the manager that day, what that was like, watching it. The Forest side.
I mean, you go back to that day, the day was a nightmare for if you're a Leicester fan from start to finish. You got to the ground within, we'd been poor, and you were just going there with the hope that we'd turn up and have a good go at them. You knew that Forest team, who were in the Championship at the time, let's not forget about it, that was a Championship team, were going to come out and have a go. They'd done it in the previous round against a Premiership club and knocked someone out. They were always going to be up for it, and that was the major difference. We didn't turn up. The simple things of giving the ball away in the wrong areas because we're being pressed from the front. Cooper got his tactics right, because that was Cooper, and you have to give credit because he did. He got the players that he needed to chase down, like Daniel Amate. Don't give him time, let him make a mistake. He made the mistake that gave them the goal at the end of the day. He kicked the ball straight to Johnson, who rolled it through Danny Ward's legs. It was just mistake after mistake. But you can't just say that was Leicester's mistakes. That was because Forest were pressing us from the top. They gave us no time on the ball. They weren't letting us get out, and if they made a mistake, they recovered. You know, I think they made one mistake and naturally got in and scored just after the break, if I remember rightly. But the day itself, the way that Steve Cooper had got that club as one, you know, we're talking about the beginning of the season that Nottingham Forest at the times were, I think, 18th when Cooper went in, and he managed to get them into the playoffs and up. He brought a spirit into that club and connected himself with the fans. And you speak to the fans now, and I speak to Forest fans, and they also say they won't say a bad word against Cooper. They also feel he's very done by because of how many signings he kept getting brought into the football club. What I don't think he had a say on, I really don't. And I think in Leicester, I think he probably will have a little bit more of a say who comes in or who he wants, you know, in what positions. Where I think there he was kept giving player after player because they had half decent careers. You know, Hudson-Odoi. You know, 5 years ago, everyone was talking about him going to Bayern Munich and this, that, and the other. He drifted away. He ended up at Forest. Why? I can't see Steve Cooper thinking he was going to bring him in and do something with him. He struggled. You know, that day alone, the FA Cup, you could just see a club that were one and connected. A bit like Enzo did last year with reconnecting the players and the fans. I think that's probably why the board looked at him a little bit and thought, well, he got that connection between the players and fans all working. Can Cooper do the same thing? And you probably answer is yes to that because I think he will connect with the fans very quickly. I think he's a likable character. I think that's what made that FA Cup thing harder because look at the passion. Look at the passion after the game and going up to the crowd and pumping them. That's how much it meant to get a win over one of the big guns. He's going to expect that with, you know, Leicester fans going behind him, and he's going to look at big games and think we're going to take it to teams. That's how I look at it after that FA Cup defeat.
It was that day, Tom, we were in there, the noise of the City ground as well. It was. Now, people say, oh, you would never get the King Power like that. It reminded me that day of the King Power in the Great Escape season and the Premier League winning season. I know the King Power can rock, Tom. And if it's something, again, I don't want to be negative, Enzo, this and that. It was quiet a lot of last season. And I think next year, back in the Premier League, we're back to being underdogs again. Again, in every home match, we're underdogs. And I think if Cooper can bring that fighting spirit back to all of us, because last year it was at times a bit too easy. We were always expected to win, so the pressure was on us all the time. We suddenly go back almost to how we were in 2014, where we go back up. We are underdogs every game at home, and I say that even against the Brentfords and Crystal Palaces, Tom. There's probably only a Southampton maybe at home, Ipswich, who people would say, well, you should win that. The rest, all the home games, we're underdogs, aren't we? So that fighting attitude from us as fans and Cooper and the players is what's going to be the number one thing, I think.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Cooper compared to Enzo is I don't think he'll be stubborn. I think if things aren't working, he won't I'll keep playing my way. I think even if Enzo was here now, we would have gone into the Premier League with a team that will play the same way. And time after time, probably would have got found out certain games, maybe too good for certain teams in every play to the potential we showed in the Championship at times. But I think Stevie Cooper will adapt. I think they talked about it on Talk Sports. That Stevie Cooper will not sit back. Enzo will play his way, and that's it. And you know, Cooper will look at it and go, "This ain't working. I've got to change something." I think the fighting spirit from Cooper will come across quite well. If things aren't going well, he's not going to be a manager who stand there on the touchline and not say something to the players. I think he'll be quite animated on the touchline and really gets his point across. And like you say, look, I've seen that King Power rocking with 18,000 fans in there in League One, mate. You know, that stadium doesn't need to be full to be rocking. I've seen it, you know, with 20,000 fans in there rocking in the Championship season. We went back up the first time we got relegated when we left Filbert Street. The stadium doesn't need to be full. It's who's in the stadium and wants to make the noise. You can fill with 32,000, it can be quiet as anything. You fill it with 18 to 20,000 and it can sound like a rock concert in there. It really does. So I don't believe it is a case of, you know, there's people don't do it. It's depends who's in that ground and who wants to make a noise. Everybody gets behind that team. We saw it at the Great Escape. We saw it in League One. We've seen it in the Championship a few times. When he gets going, it's a chorus in there and it's a bowl and it will work. But I think last year there was too many games where people got frustrated with the way we played. And obviously it wasn't very attacking. Cooper, I think, will be a bit more attacking when we get the ball. And I generally think he'll change the shape this year. I think we will be a 4-3-3 team and he will go at teams from the wingers.
I think so. I want to address what Matt has asked here. And of course, this show, everybody, just whatever you want to ask or get your debates on, we'll try to chat about as much as we can. And talking about the fans in the King Power, Matty asks, can we please just touch on the disrespect the club have on the fans paying for matchday tickets? And Matty's been quite strong toned there, Tom. I get his sentiment. I think I worked out based on somebody I know who's not been able to get a season ticket. Many fans want a season ticket, can't. He's basically him, his wife, his 2 kids to get to see one game potentially, but because they have to sign up to be members and then go and buy the tickets. That's the thing. Just to come and take the kids to see one game, you're probably looking at 200 quid for the members, and then to go and see 2 games, the second game's 100 quid. It is a bit tasty, isn't it, Tom? You've got young kids like me.
I've been lucky, you know. I look at it, and Henry was a member for 2 years and managed to get a season ticket last year. So
he was lucky.
He was lucky. He only got 33 points, and he was lucky to get one. It was picked out of a ballot. You know, this year we tried to get George one on 7 points. I didn't think he'd get one, and he didn't. You know, you just take that chance, don't you? Look, I think the pricing, you know, I think for all the backlash the club has taken in the last few weeks about certain issues at the football club, you thought the club might have learned a little bit about how to do things. You know, there was a massive battle. Well, you would, you know, there was a massive backlash towards the club over
plastic cards,
the plastic cards and everything like that. And you think, yeah, maybe they would learn, but they didn't because they stuck by the guns. And again, you know, they really thought that fans would be all right by paying an extra, you know, an average ticket, £45 a ticket for an adult ticket in the ground. Was it price increase of 30% on some tickets? You're pricing the fans out of the game. You're pricing the real fans out of the game now, sadly. And it's starting to become a rich man sport. You know, I'm lucky. I'm on a half decent wage. I travel everywhere to go watch the team where I can. You know, I'll travel every home game up from Worcester. What's an hour and 15 minutes? Fuel costs and everything like that. I take my son. You know, we pay for 2 season tickets. But to a match day, like you said, to cost for a family for the first time ever, £200. That's Man United pricing to me. That's Arsenal pricing. We aren't anywhere near that standard yet to be justifying those costs to be to the fans. And it's sad because it feels like the real fans have been priced out of the game again. You know, what was it? You know, why couldn't they have left season ticket cards as an option, or it's £5? I think Forest charge their fans £5 for a plastic card. It's a plastic card. It shouldn't need to be 25 quid. The reason the club for me did it was trying to force fans into pay to get it going digital, because that's what they want. They want everyone digitally. So you couldn't move your season ticket cards around so easy and give them away. You only get a limit, I think, is it 4 now or 5 games that you can move your card to someone else. With the season ticket card, you can pass it to every Tom, Dick and Harry. And the club didn't like that because they don't know who's in the ground. So, okay, from a safety point of view, I understand what they were trying to do. But forcing the hand by saying it's 25 quid or you get a digital one seemed harsh. And the same again now. You know, yes, a few of the games last year, they made general sale, so you didn't need a membership. But there should be a point where you should be able to get them on general sale. Like, there's certain games this year, I'm going to guarantee you now, you know, there's games like Southampton, Ipswich, you know, Brentford. That ground will not sell out. As much fans will say it won't sell out, and there will be seats. There's over the years, we played, every time we seem to get a run of form in the Premier League, 4 or 5 seasons, you get to the teams when you play your West Broms, your Middlesbrough, your Norwich, the ground doesn't even fill up. But we never got to general sale because, say, you've got to have a membership. Open it up to the general fans or the supporters who have come over from foreign countries to watch us, you know, international fans who have come over but can't get a ticket. You know, the club seems to have got it a bit wrong again, in my view, sadly. It's gone, like I say, it's not looking at the fans anymore, it's money making. And surely the revenue they make off ticket isn't that big enough to justify it.
I hear what you're saying, Tom. I was at it was a concert the other week, and to be fair, there was people caught outside, couldn't get in because of digital. It was all digital, the ticketing there. So we got there very early. We got in okay. And I'm talking 4 hours early, Tom. But a lot of people I've seen couldn't get in because the digital ticket wouldn't scan, didn't work. And then they were literally outside. I know the first game of the season, the Spurs game at Leicester, there'll be a lot more fans on digital tickets because they won't have wanted to pay the money. So again, I expect a little bit of chaos. But Tom, I want to move on from that. Wout Faes to Barcelona. I've heard some strange rumours. He's quite good. I've not thought he's looked that good in the Euros. Is he one of
I
those?
love the summer rumour mill. It's just funny.
Barcelona, I mean, Soyuncu was meant to go. I mean, Soyuncu did end up at Atletico, didn't he? But
he did, and then got shipped out on loan halfway through the year because
yeah,
they realised how poor he was. Sadly,
Wout Weiss to Barcelona.
Look, you can never say never, because who would have thought Vincent Kompany at the beginning of the season would have gone to Bayern Munich at the end of the season after getting Burnley relegated? So football's a strange and funny old game, and
Yeah.
anything can happen. Let's not sit here and say it can't. It'd be a very, very interesting signing from Barcelona to be going down that route with a team that are trying to rebuild themselves after a few poor seasons in La Liga, after Real Madrid dominance in the Champions League and La Liga. So it could happen. It might happen. You can't rule it out. Do I think it will? I'd be very surprised. But no one said Leicester will win the league, and they went and won the league 1 year. You can't say no. I just don't. It's a strange, mate. The rumour mill at the moment is so strange. And obviously, FSP now, Everton and Villa have found a loophole by selling young kids to each other, what means they can knock off values what they're worth anyway. So all these loopholes have been found, and the football Premier League is starting to become a bit of a laughing stock with certain things at the moment.
It's quite a good one, isn't it? Keith says still no signings for Leicester Fan TV. Phil's getting on a bit. Keith, come on. We're always looking for more people. And I might as well have a plea now. If anybody wants to come on ever and do what me and Tom do, come and join us. Come and have a chat. Keith, there's an open invitation to you in there. Chris says Pies is one defender we could sell and is easily replaceable rather than lose Dewsbury Hall in there. To be fair, Tom, I'd quite like to keep Wout Pies. I'd like to keep Dewsbury Hall. We still need to potentially balance up FFP apparently, and we've got, is it 6 days left to do that? If it's this June the 30th deadline that they keep talking about.
Yeah, but then there's also the talk that the 10 million that we received from Enzo is sort of done that because Enzo's balance is not just 10 million. They work it out what it'd be worth value of the player, and it's worth 50 million. So I think someone was saying that it's sort of.
Is that right?
Well, what I'd believed is someone had told me that that the 10 million compensation, because he's a manager, if they turn that into a value of a player, I don't know how true it is. If it is true that that would basically cancel out any debts that we had for that last season and put us back under the mark. How true it is, I don't know. I think it can't be far off though, because we haven't sold any players, and if the club are panicking and thinking we've got to balance the books or we're going to get an even bigger points deduction before we start the season, I think you would have seen someone like KDH being out the door already, or a Faz gone. 6 days time, we'll know. If players haven't gone, then obviously we might be all right, and the points are only from 2 seasons ago, so it might be only the 6 to 9. If it isn't, then obviously it could be anywhere from 10 to 15.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Tom, just a couple of ones before we go, because we all want to go and watch the Euros, I think, tonight. Ndidi, stay or go, and then a bit of Daniel Iverson to Derby. We've seen rumours of a loan there, but Danny Ward's the one for me we need to ship out. But let's start with Ndidi, Tom.
I think it's a tricky one. I think he'll stay. I think he'll sign probably a 3-year deal, and I think he'll have a clause in there that he can go if we get relegated again automatically. I don't think they'll even think. I think he'll be in there that if we go down, he can go straight out the door for a set figure of a smaller amount. I think he'll stay. I think Cooper will convince him to come and have one more season at Leicester, probably on the basis that this club has stuck by him for many years over the last 3 or 4 years, even with your injury problems. And as for Daniel Iverson, look, he's a great shot stopper and he's a bad goalkeeper, but he's not going to get a game for Leicester. You've got 2 very young, talented goalkeepers in front of him. And for someone of his age now, he needs to be playing regular football. Let's not forget, he's been around this football club for a very, very long time. He came in at 19, 20. He's now 25. For a goalkeeper, he needs to be playing somewhere on a regular basis. And look, if you don't want to go to a rival team in Derby, but they're in the Championship, so no one really cares about them anyway. So, look, if he goes there and gets some games under his belt, who knows? You might come back in 12 months' time to be the backup keeper because, one of those two who's playing, probably Jakobsen, might not want to be around next season if he's not getting much game time. Ward in goal next season with the... Why do you employ him?
I'm persuading Reedy through. I think even Reedy's starting to get onto the Cooper. I think you've just got to. Nick Ball says, wasn't Ndidi considering Forest and wasn't Cooper there at the time? I think, Nick, you're right that there was rumours of Ndidi going to Forest when we got relegated. SDG says, going to be interesting with Steve Cooper because he had the chance to basically get him once at Nottingham Forest and hopefully can survive. I think Tommy wasn't getting what he wants at Forest. He was just given the directors, the chairman were just buying the players for him, and he was having to and that was part of the trouble that for him that first season. The first half of the first season was 25 players trying to blend them together. It was a miracle, really, that season that he kept them up.
25. That was 22 loan players, weren't it? It worked out, so 22 new signings, and some of them were loan because obviously they were on loan from the football clubs that he owns, Olympiacos. Yeah, that's the difference. You know, the chairman owns another football club. He can loan players here, there, and everywhere for fun.
Yeah,
it was very unfair on him. Look, fully behind him. Looking forward to it. Definitely going to go Shrewsbury away, 23rd of July. Looking forward to that already. It's already in the diary and the car parts book time. I'm already looking forward to pre-season.
Should be good. Soren out there in Sweden says, "Shut up now, lads. Euros is on. See you later." Soren, absolutely, we will do. Thanks, Tom, for joining us. Let's go and watch the Euros. Hopefully, they'll be quite exciting tonight. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you soon. See you, Tom.
Cheers, mate.
Right, I'll let Tom go. Thanks so much for joining us. Don't forget, I'll be live here next Monday night at the same time. Go off, enjoy the Euros. Good luck to England tomorrow night. Anybody else, by the way, think watching England's a bit like watching Leicester at times last year? Shh, we're not even got onto that. I'll see you all later. Anyway, onwards and upwards. See you next time.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, Everards, Barlow Blinds, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Distillers Direct, Hollogram, Take Me, Newby Co, The Fox's Arms and Rainbows. Run by the fans, for the fans. Follow us on socials at Leicester Fan TV and visit leicesterfantv.com for all the latest news, views and videos.